So this is an article about pyruvate kinase deficiency, which is also known as PKD. It's called Addressing the Diagnostic Gaps in Pyruvate Kinase Deficiency, Consensus Recommendations on the Diagnosis of Pyruvate Kinase Deficiency. And it's written by 17 people. And this is mostly about the disease and trying to better diagnose it, because it goes misdiagnosed in the 1970s. It was misdiagnosed in about half of the people. It was 6 out of 13 people were misdiagnosed. And that was only in 1979. And this disease is actually PKD is, since pyruvate kinase is a enzyme, and what it basically does is it helps in ATP production and is one of the two major steps for ATP production of glycosis, and it is the last that catalyzes the reaction. And when you have the deficiency, that means your body isn't making as much PKD as it needs to. It doesn't have as much energy. And this translates into a genetic anemia, which is passed on by reproduction. It's passed by your parents. It's a recessive trait. This recessive trait is dangerous when you have if someone who had this disease decided to have a kid with someone else who had that disease, and they are half as likely to have a kid. Well, there's 50% chance that their kid will need blood transfusions because they're not making enough red blood cells by themselves that have enough energy and have the metabolism to carry oxygen throughout their entire body over and over again. And the deficiency causes a breakdown of the red blood cells. This enzyme needs monovalent and divalent cations like potassium with plus, magnesium 2+, or manganese that is either 2+, 13, or 14 to properly function. And this, throughout this article, it talks about how they kind of broken everything down into making sure to properly diagnose people. And they also tested to see if it was more common among different ethnicities or genders, and it was found that it wasn't. It's mostly based on genetics and mutations, but there are over 300 mutations which causes this disease, which is weird because with 300 mutations, people are still misdiagnosed and undiagnosed. And that also is because, since it's a recessive trait, it is more mild than severe. And if you were to, like for myself, a doctor only noticed that my red blood cell count was low and that was it. And it was misdiagnosed as something else. So this is going to be used in the genetic portion of the paper to talk about the recessive traits and how that works.